What is up, Guardians? This is going to be the first part of a potential new series where I intend to put everything I can think of into a build that maximizes it, and then test these builds in a variety of places. Then we're going to compare how well each build performed and discover what shines and what's never worth building again. For reference, here are the rules that I'm playing by. 1. This is not a only use one item challenge. Any accompanying weapons, aspects, armor, mods, or class effects are valid. 2. While the build can include anything, I'm making a good faith attempt to both make the featured item as prominent as possible, while also creating something that you could actually use on a day-to-day or activity-to-activity basis. These are going to be real builds. 3. The main ranking factor will be time, with a boost for anything particularly easy to pilot or a solo flawless, and a penalty for anything that's somehow boosted by the activity itself. If I perform poorly at platforming or puzzle solving, I'll attempt to use the average traversal times. 4. Just because I test an item on one class doesn't mean I won't revisit the build on another class or another activity. First up is our Shrieker, where we hold block and control recoil. Then I accidentally fight a rogue sword bearer in a tower, and find the wizard disciple who ends up needing 2 swords. That takes almost 2 minutes to find, by the way. Today's test is Shatter Grenade versus Pit of Heresy. This is our new stasis grenade added in Monument of Triumph, and it's actually quite interesting. It's sticky grenade with generous tracking. If it sticks to an enemy, they'll be slowed, freeze, and then shatter as the grenade explodes. On explosion, it's going to release several projectiles that penetrate and ricochet, dealing damage and shattering any crystals or frozen enemies they hit. These projectiles can hit the same target multiple times, and are more consistent in enclosed spaces. In testing, this hit for about 1470 on an average, with 400 more damage if you hit a frozen target, and 400 more if you have Touch of Winter equipped. Hitting a frozen target with Touch of Winter equipped, I was able to see an average of about 2314 damage, up to 2900. Inside a glaive bubble, not part of this build, I hit up to 6900 on a single unfrozen target. And for reference, a regular scatter grenade in testing hit somewhere between 633 and 1378 damage with an average of 950. With all of that in mind, the Shatter Grenade is quite powerful for a simple sticky grenade, with the lowest cooldown at 1 minute and 45 seconds base, matching the Fusion Grenade. Now, first encounter of Pit is not particularly build-centric, nor is the rest of Pit, to be fair, and I had to shake off some rust on how the mechanics worked exactly. The symbols to read are actually in each of the towers, and the incorrect towers have sword bearers. I at least immediately clocked that the Shatter Grenade straight up one-shots the Bridge Ogres and Pit Keepers. Then I immediately almost die trading with the Knight to a bunch of thralls. Wouldn't that have been embarrassing? Frost Armor also shows that it means business by immediately eating sword damage for breakfast. You'll also see we make tons of crystals thanks in part to Mask of Fealty, more on that later. And these crystals are feeding me tons of grenade energy and shards. The stasis rework this patch means that Revenant Hunters have access to shards without a kill requirement for the first time. This provides huge amounts of melee energy for shards, but also class regen, frost armor, armor charge, and extra explosions. You'll also see shards on kills against debuff targets, but these are less world-changing than all shatters. So, Chamber of Suffering. No equipment changes here, as the toughest enemy is some knights. Technically, I have to stand on a plate to not explode, rush to grab orbs, but with Eager Edge, I can reliably grab them with time to spare. The Acolytes spawn and move in groups, so my shatters are clearing swaths of them at a time. And the Heretical Knights are exactly one Eager Edge swing away. Buried Bloodline, Withering Blades, and Grenades handle the Boomer Knights well enough, and Shatter Grenade insta-kills the Heretical Knights. If you watch closely, you should see several instances of body shot kills exploding, which is Grim Harvest at work. Penitent Squall can expunge orbs if it feels like a clusterfuck. The Double Splash Hand Cannon obviously cleans up thralls too, but it wasn't until halfway through this encounter that I realized how much ability regen I really had. If I had noticed beforehand, I probably would have spammed more abilities. We don't have tons of options for Stasis Hunter, but I think it really came together in the end. Gambler's Dodge refunds our melee, and both if we're near enemies. This feeds our armor and crystal generation very aggressively. For aspects, we are taking Grim Harvest, which post-rework, this still gives Frost Armor for shard pickup, but also gives us class ability energy for taking damage with Frost Armor, and makes our weapons occasionally cause killed enemies to explode being near 100% at max frost armor. Touch of Winter is here to refund about 15% of the grenade if we hit a frozen target, and more importantly to add extra shrapnel to the grenade for more damage. For fragments, we have Torment and Shards pulling double duty grenade regen on damage taken, and Crystal Shatter. Hunger is here to generate extra melee energy from shards, and Conduction is here to quickly gather shards up. As I stated before, Mask of Fealty is present so our shuriken create crystals on first and third bounce, and to give another strong shatter option, releasing more shuriken if we use them to shatter a crystal or frozen enemy. Weapon-wise, I opted for Buried Bloodline for several reasons. 1, Stasis lacks a strong sustain option outside of orb pickup, and 2, more grenade regen with Devour. It certainly helps, and the weaken effect is no slouch. For my primary, I used a modified B7 pistol with Headstone and Firefly, allowing a headshot to create and instantly shatter a stasis crystal. This procs Whisper of Shards and provides a shard for armor or energy. Heavy-wise, I brought an Eager Edge sword and Chill Inhibitor for boss damage. No synergy there, just movement. The armor set isn't perfect, but I'm rocking 39 health, 101 melee, 150 grenade, 66 super, 82 class, and 0 weapons. You could do some other combinations here, but I wanted to have high cooldown on both my abilities and the class ability to try and loop it as fast as possible. For significant mods, I had Ashes to Assets, Grenade Fonts, Firepower, Concussive Dampener, Elemental Charge, Better Already, Void Surge, Class Font, and Time Dilation. Charge will give you Armor Charge, and that will get you to 190 Grenade, 100 Class, and a 10% damage buff. Then, simple as, second encounter is complete. I almost jumped straight into the pit, but I realized I was still flawless, and I slowed it down just to see if I could. I swapped to Eager Edge for a Chill Inhibitor here, as I need the DPS. Not much else changes. The instant kill Knights button still works, and the Shrieker, Wizard, and Knight return from the first encounter. They now drop the Void Orbs from second encounter, which need to be dunked into the 3 receptacles in the middle of the room. I head to the Shrieker first, as blocking him is my favorite. You'll see that for most of these, I'll try to clear out some of the ads or play around the back of the tower so that I'm not getting shot by the boss and anything else in the middle of the arena. I'm trying to play with some care because I am still flawless, and I don't feel like ending up with a grenade up my ass. The Wizard is as lame as always, blasting lightning and making dark bubbles. The sword also decides to randomly swing slower, so I have to stare at this idiot for an extra long amount of time. This is a great opportunity for us to talk about the artifacts. There are actually several good stasis artifacts, and you could probably make any of them work with some tweaks. Queen's Foil Sensor and Implement of Curiosity both have interesting options, like Frigid Glare, but feel like they really want you to lock into solar or weapon focuses. My choice of Slayer Bear and Apothecary Satchel feels like a great pure stasis option that improves the general stasis flow. Starting in Tier 1, here's what I took. Wind Chill, rapid stasis weapon hits grant frost armor. Hitting slowed or frozen enemies creates a stasis shard. Crystalline Converter, which charges as you collect shards, then releases more crystals on your next melee hit. Hail the Storm is shattering things, deals increased damage, and shattering crystals releases extra shards for more damage and slow to combatants. Frost Renewal makes it so that while I have frost armor, if my shield breaks, me and allies get more frost armor and nearby enemies are frozen. Spirit of Orbs gives healing for shard pickup, but Weakened Clear is also good if you want to use a grenade launcher. The Knight takes the longest to kill, but since I constantly slide to avoid his swings, it's much more fun than the Wizard. Forebearers just keep running in here as well to feed me swords, and even though I didn't need the ammo, I still appreciate you, Nightman. Brain Freeze makes it so frozen enemies create an AoE that slows nearby enemies, basically turning them into a dusk field. And finally, Served Cold makes it so that shards also give class ability energy, which wasn't that great when hunters needed to get kills, but now that you can get shards on shattering, it's become much more potent. My goals here are to keep as many enemies frozen or surrounded by crystals as I can, with another boost to survivability. It's difficult to move from a subclass with tons of sustain to stasis, so I tried to compensate as much as possible because I believe stasis is best represented as a tanky disruptive class. With the final orb, we can finally hop in the ring with Zulmak. Normally, you'd probably have some kind of well or other healing to square up, but we're going in with raw shards for DR and some light healing. Balance and Squall goes out first since it takes serious time to contribute, but hopefully it gives some boosted Shatter grenades. Even without the bonus, it hits for well over 2k, so I'm not going to complain too much. Buried Bloodline does give me some issues activating Envious Arsenal, and I'm not totally sure why, but it definitely hampered my damage. Cursed and regular Thralls storm us, but my Frost Armor does not give a damn, shrugging most of the stray hits off. I don't take much more than a third at most, and the shard healing really shows how much it's worth here. Phase 1 ends without dumping my entire reserves, but a solid half bar of damage all but guarantees a 2-phase. We run around doing the same song and dance as last time with the Disciples, and at the start of Phase 2, I hit the perfect Shatter Grenade opener, and you can see exactly how devastating this is when his health bar loses an entire eighth. But we aren't messing around anymore, and I successfully mag dumped my entire Chibiter into his health bar. This instantly liquidates Zulmak, and getting this build a solo flawless clear time of 39 minutes and 11 seconds. As our pilot episode and with no comparisons, ranking this is a bit pedantic, but at least to show what the list could look like, we'll add it to a Pit of Heresy chart. 39 minutes and solo flawless sounds like a decent benchmark for the dungeon, but so much relies on the relic or traversal that it's difficult to say the grenade is overpowered or bad. If nothing, this does at least prove the grenade is a substantial damage dealer compared to the Duskfield or our old stasis grenades, and gives stasis a very competent and reliable option with great cooldown. If I was going to improve the build and the potency of the grenade, I have a few potential ideas. First, Devour and Buried Bloodline may be a bit of an overcommitment. That could have been a heal clip, special weapon, or a straight damage option. Second, the new perk Collective Demolition could be a straight upgrade, allowing my guns to provide grenade energy per hit after collecting a shard, which we are doing constantly anyways. I haven't tested it yet, and it's not on many weapons, but it could be a potential powerhouse. Third and last, a good armor set bonus could push this build very, very far. There's a lot of new stuff to parse, but some theoretical highlights so far are the Exodus Down 4-piece, providing healing and DR for armor charge usage, the Great Hunt set for grenade kills giving DR and bonus heavy ammo, or the Techian's Regalia set, once fixed, that will slow on finisher, give DR for damage and improved recharge speed. Among many potential 2-piece combos, Exodus could be crazy with Shard Elemental Charge, and Techian's just seems casually universal. That's going to be all for me today, folks. Remember, a dim link is down in the description. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this kind of content. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you all again very, very soon.